Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geeky Geezers. I am your host, Aged Boomer. This is my co-host, PaPa Pacelli.
Hello, hello.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm
Okay, who's
doing. I'm
here?
doing.
Okay,
Okay.
Auditor Dread.
Well, yeah. See, I said hi to some people whose comments were here about an hour ago, and they seem to have dropped off. So,
Whatever. Come back. What's Auditor Dread saying?
Matanui and Auditor Dread. I saw you guys as first, but it looks like Big Al is the first who's actually here.
Oh my goodness! Have a great stream, Geezers. I'll be missing it tonight. Yeah, why? You got to prep for a hurricane coming your way? Oh no, wait, that's me. That's
That's you.
me. That's me.
That's
Oh
you.
no. All serious though, everybody be safe. Go to a shelter if you have to. Watch the warnings and just hopefully we'll get through this and it won't be so bad and hopefully it won't hit my area. But no, I'm sorry, I'll be bad. Now I
I
just
know.
myself.
No, no. I've been watching with
Oh,
Netter. We've been going through Friday the 13th, the series, which I talked about on a previous Culture Fortress, and it seems to be a running theme. You know, there, but for the grace of God, go I. You know, it's a terrible thing, but at least it's not me.
uh, rest in peace to Henry Silva and
Yeah.
Louise Fletcher. Have
Yep.
a great stream, Geezers. Thank you, Big Al. Hello, Netter. I get a hi, sweetie. That's always
I
good.
love you too, Netter. Hey,
Zetopia. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
deleted Steens.
Deleted scenes. Welcome.
Hey, y'all.
Literally
Yep.
just got home from work. Yeah.
Awesome, guys.
Welcome everybody. Yeah, no, in all seriously though, I hope that this hurricane does not end up being a big deal. We'll see. I mean, here's the thing: the weather channels, I always feel like they want to predict the worst because that gets more clicks. But again, maybe they're right. You know what I'm
if
saying? So
if
it's
things get bad, I understand you're not going to be able to make it Tuesday to Culture Fortress.
I'm
We'll
looking
hope you
forward to it.
do. Pardon? Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not Culture
Well, I'm
Fortress.
looking
It's the.
forward to the discussion of that. I don't.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't want to force Matchstick to postpone. Hopefully, I will be able to make it, and that just works.
Right.
Yeah.
And if not, you know, maybe Friday we'll have Al back to do another rewatch of Gone with the Wind.
You're very funny. Very funny. You're reinforcing my house.
You should. You know, if I lived in a hurricane alley, I would definitely make sure I
I
had.
get it all done because I may be called for other more government sensitive duties that I can't go into here. Okay.
Strictly hush hush. Yeah.
You
The
keep
government
saying that.
duties.
We're gonna have to do a rewatch of L.A. Confidential at some point because that's gonna be good. But
That's where that comes from, right?
yes,
Off
that
the
was Danny
record on the
Vito's
QT
Danny
and
Vito's
very, very
character
hush
kept
hush.
saying that. Yeah, and I almost thought about doing that as a good old day since we're on I think the 25th anniversary of L.A. Confidential, and yes, you are feeling. Oh, I am feeling old at hearing that.
When is it?
Now it's like a couple weeks ago. It was the 25th anniversary.
Oh, damn. I wish I'd known. I would have done the rewatch, like, you know, for
Oh
that week.
well, you can do it before the end of the year if you want.
Okay, I think I will. I'll plan that in there. Good idea. That's not a bad idea. Okay, I will.
But we might as well just get to it. Get to
Let's
the
get
good old
absolutely
days.
right to it. Right to the good old days. And you know, you came up with an interesting one. I want to know where you're going with that, so we'll definitely do that another week. But I had a hankering to do one on 80s videos, okay? You know, like music videos. Videos in the 80s for so many people were their window to the world. Got to remember, this was the days before the internet. You know, the internet was really just dial up,
Yep.
you know, into, you know, mostly independently hosted electronic bulletin boards.
Pretty much, yeah. It was
Cable TV wasn't even available in all metropolitan areas, let alone rural. And, you know, although I'm not going to go into it, you know, if you want a video that literally, a song that really is specifically about this, check out Joe Jackson's Steppin' Out. That's exactly what it's about, you know, getting out and seeing things for yourself. Anyway, it was a brand new medium, a whole new way to experience popular music. And in so many ways, it's a lost art. Today, classic 80s videos can score millions of views on platforms like YouTube. Now, Boomer and I could go on for hours about music videos, but we decided we need to limit ourselves to just 3 each.
Yes.
And I want to not only make some suggestions for you to check out, but to tell you why these videos truly elevate the already genius songs. Because let's face it, some songs did just fine on their own, and the videos were little more than, stage concert footage or stylized portrayals of a performance of a song like The Police's "Every Breath You Take," But others were just something else entirely. I think the first one that I want to talk about, the most obvious one, is that comes to most people's minds is Michael Jackson's Thriller. Now, I could go on for this one longer than the video's runtime of 14 minutes. I mean, heck, there's a 35-minute making of video, But the music video for the song Thriller was released on December 2nd, 1983, and it was directed by John Landis, written by Landis and Jackson, and stars Jackson and Ola Ray of Playboy fame. Anyway, yes. It references numerous horror films, contains a rap voiceover by horror legend Vincent Price, and sees Jackson dancing with a horde of zombies. Jackson's 6th album, Thriller, was released November 1982 and spent months on the top of the Billboard 200, backed by successful videos for the singles of Billie Jean and Beat It. In July of 83, after Thriller was displaced from the top of the chart, Jackson's manager, Frank DeLeo, suggested making a music video for Thriller. Jackson hired Landis after seeing his 1981 film, An American Werewolf in London. The pair conceived a short video with a budget much larger than previous music videos. It was filmed at various locations in Los Angeles, including the Palace Theater. That making of documentary that I mentioned was produced to sell to television networks. The video doubled sales for the album, helping it become the best-selling album in history at the time, and sold over 1 million copies on VHS, and it became the best-selling videotape at the time. It is credited for transforming music videos into a serious art form, breaking down racial barriers in popular entertainment, and popularizing the making of documentary format. The success transformed Jackson into a dominant force in the global pop culture. Many elements of Michael Jackson's Thriller have had a lasting impact on pop culture, such as the zombie dance and Jackson's iconic red jacket designed by Landis's wife, Deborah Noodleman. Fans worldwide reenact its zombie dance, and it remains popular on YouTube. The Library of Congress described it as the most famous music video of all time, and it has been named the greatest video by various publications and readers' polls. In 2009, it became the first music video inducted into the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. The Thriller video sealed MTV's position as a major cultural force, helped disassemble racial barriers for black artists, revolutionized music video production, popularized making of documentaries, and drove rental and sales of videotapes. The music video director Brian Grant credited Thriller as the turning point when music videos became a popular industry. Nina Blackwood, a former MTV executive, said music videos improved after Thriller, with more storyline and more intricate choreography. Let me drop those links.
Oh.
That's my first one.
I remember Thriller playing on MTV as a child, and they would play that during the day, and I'm like a kid seeing that, and I'm seeing the one zombie and the blood's coming out of his mouth, and I'm like, ah!
If I'm not mistaken, that particular zombie either was the same actor or someone who was meant to look like one of the iconic zombie characters from Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, and oh, very much. I'm sure. No, I'm sure Michael Jackson and John Landis were big fans of that movie as well, and they were. It was a brilliant music video, probably one of the greatest videos ever made. It has a wonderful making of documentary you can check out as well.
I just dropped the link.
Yeah. I remember they played that on MTV. The great thing about the documentary was it would do like the making of, and then it would show the video at the end.
Yep.
And it was creepy because it starts out like I think him and his girlfriend are in a theater, but they're watching. And is Michael Jackson actually on the screen? And then he
starts out.
Yeah,
the
movie. Yeah.
It starts out as an homage to the
I Was a Teenage Werewolf.
I Was a Teenage Werewolf, right?
Yeah.
And just when things are and the transformation, the werewolf transformation is clearly the same technology that was used in American Werewolf in London. I mean, you see the bulging and the growing fingers and all of that. And just as he's about to, pounce on the girl, screams and it pulls back, and you're in the theater with the two of them in the theater, and she's upset with them. And yeah.
Oh yeah, and you had a very 1950s vibe from the whole thing too in the beginning, and then it goes modern day, and of course that zombie dance, how the zombies dance, that rigid rigor mortis style dance.
Yeah, I in high school I knew that whole line dance. At a couple of sock hops that I went to, we did that line dance, and that dance is actually an emote that's available on Star Trek Online.
No kidding. It's iconic. The whole video is just it's just brilliant. If any of you haven't seen it, it's a treat. It holds up well today. It is, I think, of the 80s. That's a seminal moment in 1980s pop culture, was that music video. And of course I would hear the song on the radio, and just hearing Vincent Price do the thing above.
Darkness falls across the land.
Creepy stuff, man. And
yeah,
I mean, Michael Jackson had other brilliant videos too, but that one stands out. But
absolutely.
But my pick, and I didn't have as much stuff. Or do you have anything else left to say about
Nope.
what we're looking for? Okay.
Nope.
My next pick is, I'm actually writing down ours because I think we could do this again sometime. Maybe
yes.
3. But I have Dire Straits, Money for Nothing.
Yes. Oh, I almost did this one. I'm glad you did.
Okay.
Muma.
This is a
Mark Knopfler. Oh, I can even see him playing the guitar. Yes.
How do I describe this video? This is maybe my first introduction to computer animation.
Yes.
This music video.
Most people, yeah.
Yeah, by the guy, the weird character. I mean, they're very basic, but there's something about early computer animation that's very charming. But that I find very charming. At least maybe young kids wouldn't so much today. But like, you see the guy sitting by the TV, and you're hearing, "I want my MTV," and you're hearing that. And of course, a lot of the time, if you were lucky, you had MTV, and you were watching the music video on MTV. And it's all about. What's the song about? I guess I should have said it's about money for nothing and chicks for free. Well, what else? What else can you ask?
It's from the point of view of two workaday type of guys talking about this phenomenon of rock stars and whatnot that you laugh about. People like at the time, like Boy George and whatnot, guys dressing like girls and all kinds of goofiness. And you can pick on them all you want, but those guys are laughing their way to the bank. And he's saying, you learn to play the guitar on the MTV, you could be living large like them. That ain't working. That's the way you do it.
Oh, brilliant song. Yeah, and it's just, even when they're playing the instruments, they're not CG, but they still have a lot of like lights, like their headbands covered with lights, the guitars covered with lights. So very much set the tone for that neon 80s kind of aesthetic. Yes. Yeah. And I still love that video to this day. But he's right. I mean, especially the hair metal bands, they got the money, they got the women, they got whatever they want.
Yeah, sure, no doubt about it.
But it's a brilliant music video, good song too. I still listen to it every now and then, and I think I have like a bunch of like 80s mix CDs, like Best of the 80s Volume 1 through 6, and I think that's on there. But it's a brilliant little music video. But I'll let you. You have anything left to say about?
No.
Yeah.
Love Mark Knopfler. Love that guitar. Check it out.
I'll see you.
So my next one, Total Eclipse of the Heart is a song recorded by Welsh singer Bonnie Tyler. It was written and produced by Jim Steinman and released on Tyler's 5th studio album, Faster Than the Speed of Night. The song was released as a single by CBS Columbia in 1983. The music video for Total Eclipse of the Heart was directed by Russell Macaulay and was filmed on location at the Holloway Sanatorium, a large Victorian Gothic hospital near Virginia Water, Surrey, England. The video features Bonnie Tyler clad in white, dreaming or fantasizing about her students in a boys' boarding school. Young men are seen dancing and participating in various school activities and singing in a choir. The video received 2 nominations at the Billboard Video Music Awards in 1983 for Best Performance by a Female and Most Effective Use of Symbolism. Now, I can't begin to tell you how much I personally love this video. It had an impact on me that I just can't quite put into words. Although, looking back on it as an adult, the imagery of the female adult teacher interacting the way she does with the young male students doesn't have the same feel as it did when I was, well, a young male student. Funny side note, in 2013, a UK survey, the song came in first in a list of the most popular songs to sing in the shower, after songs by Justin Bieber, Bobby Williams, One Direction, and Elton John. So next time I take a shower, maybe I'll be singing Total Eclipse of the Heart. Beautiful, beautiful song. Incredible riffs. I think one of the best drum solos and transitions in a pop song. And yeah, that the symbolism, I mean, I think that's what it is. This dreamy quality that has you going, it just hits you on a very iconic level, you know, just it speaks to something primordial. You know, there's these scenes of the kids throwing over the tables and the doors flying open and the light blasting through with these red curtains, almost implying like maybe blood or something. I don't know. It's weird. It's got a very there's a Pink Floyd's The Wall kind of element to it, but definitely just check it out. You'll kind of get what I'm talking about.
I don't have I ever seen this music video. I know the song very well. Yeah. I've heard the song 100 times, but I don't think I've ever watched the music video. I will look for that.
You've got to. Well, I just dropped the link.
Okay, I will.
Obviously, don't watch it right now. I mean, but you know, later.
Okay.
And you know, one other thing, I'm always the one who has to make 2 points about everything, but you know, I think in the 70s, women burned their bras, and they just flat out didn't wear them in the 80s. I'm just gonna say. You know?
Okay. Now, you want my next one? Okay, I have to look it up. Okay, Men Without Hats.
Yes.
Safety Dance.
You can dance if you want to. Yes. Oh, this is why we work so well together. We did not plan this out.
Oh, well, that's the thing. You think iconic '80s video, and 100 will come to mind. And
yes.
Men Without Hats, Safety Dance. We know the song, and I've heard many different renditions of it. I actually like the one rendition. I don't know who does it. It sounds like he's reading the lines and not singing them. But of course, this is the sung version.
Yeah.
The video that goes with this. I don't want to say what were they thinking, but
it's like somebody went to a Renaissance fair and said, "Hey, want to be in a music video with me?"
Like, what does this have to do with the song?
Yeah, it doesn't. But it's great.
You have like the one dwarf from Time Bandits is there.
Yeah.
Him.
Yeah.
You have like this. These. It looks like it's in Scotland or someplace like that, and like there are people dancing around the maypole. And it's this 80s
I think
rock
I think the one thing that I can say that ties it to the song is basically about screw everything else, dance, have fun, who cares, and that's kind of what the video is.
I'm sorry. I got to do this. SAF. I'm not going to be fast enough.
S S S S A A A A
TEY.
F F F
Safety
F E
dance.
E E E T
Oh,
T.
man.
Safety.
Yes. Just.
You can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind, 'cause your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, they're no friends of mine.
This has been covered a lot by different bands over the years. I actually like the cover by the all-girl band, the Donnas, does a pretty good rendition of this song. But
I know of the
like a hard
Donnas.
rock-
Yeah, I
it's
can
like a
imagine
hard
it's
rock
probably
version.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
The Donnas are they're almost like a retro style band, like late '70s, early '80s. But if there was like an all-girl rock band from that time,
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Safety Dance, just weird video. I don't have much to say about it except it's weird. It's like a Renaissance festival. It's like something out of the Wicker Man with the people dancing around.
Yeah, but not as ominous. Far more upbeat and fun. Yeah.
It looks like this idyllic Celtic,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't know what that has to do with the song. The guy's even lip syncing it.
Doesn't have to.
Okay, that's what was weird about '80s videos. You didn't know what to expect. So
there you go.
Your next one.
Okay. So probably one of the most thought-provoking videos for me. It's not one of my favorite songs of the 80s. It isn't even one of my favorite videos, but it was the focus of a Professor of Rock video that I saw recently, and it's literally what inspired me to want to do this segment. This was one of those songs that was a synergistic release with a major motion picture, and the 80s were well known for soundtracks with a mix of pop songs. Just look at the soundtrack for Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which we watched last night on Big Al Presents, But this song was by a band we could dedicate a whole good old days to on their own. The legendary Jefferson Starship or Jefferson Airplane if you're older than we are.
Well, they were Starship in the '80s, right? Yeah.
Yes. The song is Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, a song co-written by Diane Warren and Albert Hammond. And Starship recorded it for their second studio album, No Protection, 1987. It was a power ballad featuring Starship vocalist Grace Slick and Mickey Thomas, and was the theme to the romantic comedy film Mannequin. Sorry, Big Al. The video featured Slick and Thomas, as well as Meshach Taylor reprising his role as Hollywood from the film. And the director of the film, Michael Gottlieb, also directed the video. Slick and Thomas play characters in the video that mirror Kim Cattrall and Andrew McCarthy, and as was common in such film-connected videos of the era, the video featured scenes edited from the movie. But it plays like a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern sort of way, so it's as if the Slick and Thomas characters are just off screen in the film. There's one scene depicting Slick turning on the fire hose that Hollywood uses to push back the police, and then Thomas turning it off. But unlike in Mannequin, where the spoilers for, a 30-some-year-old film, where the eponymous character becomes a real girl and she and the hero live happily ever after, Grace Slick's character returns to the window at the end of the video, and Thomas's character, not wanting to leave her, stays with her and becomes a mannequin as well, to be found by Hollywood in the morning. It's actually kind of brings a tear to my eye, and it's a great example of a video that tells a whole different story. Not a story that was actually directly in the song, not the same story that was in the movie that it's synergistic with. It's just really a cool way of telling a story.
And this was released in time with the movie, I take it, right?
Exactly. Just like so many other movies, so many other videos that were, if you think of Footloose and Flashdance, and all of them have these kinds of videos.
Goonies had a music video.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was neat because you'd get clips of the movie, but the video would also be doing its own thing. In fact, I have a good example of that, which maybe I'll say for next time I do this, which was a neat little movie tie-in with a music video that I liked a lot. But it's neat how, because it promoted the movie, but then the video's doing its own thing, right? So it's
right, exactly.
Yeah, and
exactly.
No, if I heard Jefferson Starship. I thought you were going to say pick "We Built the City on Rock and Roll," but
I thought about it, but I did this one specifically because, like I said, Professor of Rock and Roll did this great video, which I dropped the link for you guys to check out later. Really check it out, and check out his channel if you love music from the 60s to 2000. You know, he covers the whole gambit.
okay. And are you done?
Oh, yeah.
My final video is going to be Twisted Sister, I Wanna Rock.
I Wanna Rock.
You know this
yes,
one?
Of course I do.
This is I don't know why when I think of 80s videos, this is the first one that pops in my head. I think this was the first one I saw that really made an impact on me as a child. Because I was a child, so I wasn't as into the rock music as like my older siblings or, older peers were, but I still would watch this stuff. And Twisted Sister, the video starts out, and you're in this high school, first day of school, worst day of the year, right? For many teenagers, and you just have this awful teacher. Just it makes Mr. Hand look like Little Mary Sunshine.
Yeah.
He's just yelling at all the students and says, "You're mine now," and he's like. The kid's size. That's just for that. You'll get an extra 3 hours of detention today after school in the basement. And then he goes by to this, this overweight guy in the class, and he's looking at this. He sees the Twisted Sister symbol on the book, and he's like, "What did you do? What did you do? Desecrates a defenseless textbook. I have a good mind to slap your fat face." And like he's pulling out his cheek, and he's saying, "You are a disgrace." And he's like, "What do you want to do with the rest of your life?" And then he says, "I want to rock." And then rock, and it's like Twisted Sister appears. And then
yeah.
Through the ceiling into the gym. Oh, it's brilliant, and the whole thing is like a Wile E. like a Roadrunner cartoon with like the teacher's taking on the role of Wile E. Coyote, and he's trying to kill Twisted Sister, the band, and he's like, he has like he tries throwing a hand grenade, but throws the pin by accident, and then he can't get the pin off. He jumps into a thing of cement trying to catch them, and he ends up in a swimming pool, and I guess he still has the grenade in his hand. He explodes, hits the diving board. It's ridiculous.
And it was fun, and it's funny. and you can and for those of us that consume these songs with those videos, you hear the song and you see the video in your head.
Yeah.
Horizon Talker is saying, "Oh, no love for Aha's Take on Me video." It was definitely on my list. I almost did.
Too. Maybe next time one of us will.
Because I specifically was, because when we talk about these videos, we talk about the cultural impact. Talk about that one, the way it was parodied on Family Guy. Where it's where Chris is the one that gets pulled into the the cartoon or whatever.
It was a comic book.
Or a comic book, whatever. And his mother's like, "Chris, where were you?" And he goes, "I don't know."
We actually debated which was the better Michael Jackson video at work last week, Thriller or Smooth Criminal. I'm in the camp Smooth Criminal, but gotta concede Thriller is pretty good too. I like Beat It too, though. I think Beat It's a good one too.
I think the comparison between Thriller and Smooth Criminal is because they were both these really big epic stories that go well beyond the song itself. It's like little mini movies.
But no, we'll cover at some point. We'll cover Take on Me, because that was it was close. I think Dire Straits, the Money for Nothing ended up because I already had the two, and I'm like, I need a third one. That came close, but I went with Money for Nothing. But that's the thing, though. Like we said, you could think of 100 of these videos, and this
was so much fun for me to do. I would love to do this again.
We're gonna do this again, maybe every other week, or maybe once a month or something.
Once a month would be great. Yeah. Okay.
Because this is just. You could talk about music videos all the time.
Yes.
It's
I'm surprised we kept it to the half-hour mark. We did a great job, I think.
Yeah.
We're going to have to manage our time tonight.
All right, we got to get into the news. Darn it. I want to
Yes,
stay in the 1980s land.
I
I
do
pick on the
too.
80s, but it actually was a pretty fun time, all things
Yep,
considered.
yep,
I
yep.
just I don't look at it with rose-colored glasses, but there ain't there ain't no
It's
rose-colored
looking
glasses.
more and more rosy with each year that goes by, though, my friend.
No, because there was a lot of great stuff in the 80s too. I mean, heck, some of my favorite movies were in the 80s. I
Yeah,
mean, I am more partial to the 70s, but there were great
yeah,
movies in
yeah,
the 80s as well. But let's go to the first news story of the night, and we have some unfortunate.
yeah,
Yes, this is a hard. This is Henry Silva.
yep.
You may have known. I mean, let me just go. I'll read from the article real quick. Let me
Sure.
just copy and paste, which
I'll
takes.
get it. I'll get the copy and paste for you.
You
You
sure?
read.
Okay, you want to
Yep.
copy these? Okay. I'll read. Henry Silva, a prolific character actor best known for playing villains and tough guys in The Manchurian Candidate, Ocean's 11, and other films, has died at age 95. Silva's son, Scott Silva, told Variety that his father died Wednesday of natural causes at the motion picture and television country house and hospital in Woodland Hills, California. Our hearts are broken at the loss of our dear friend Henry Silva, one of the nicest, kindest, and most talented men I've had the pleasure of calling my friend. Dean Martin's daughter, Deanna Martin, tweeted, "He was the last surviving star of the original Ocean's 11 movie." That was one from the
Yep.
60s, right?
Yep.
Um,
With
Henry
most of the
Silva.
Rat Pack. Yeah.
You know him from Buck Rogers, right?
I
Yeah.
do. Yes, that's exactly where I know him from. He was in that two-parter with. I think that was the same one with that had Marky Post in it.
Oh, right. Yeah. And he did the voice. He did one of the voices on Batman the Animated Series. One of the voices of Bane during one of the series. He
Oh,
played
gotcha,
Bane.
gotcha.
I could see him as Bane, right? You know, he has the
Yeah, yeah.
for that. Yeah,
He
and
definitely has that voice. And if you don't know who we're talking about because we're making references that you don't recognize, just do a Google image of Henry Silva. You'll see some younger pictures of him, some older pictures of him, and you'll go, "Oh, I know that guy. Yeah, yeah."
there was a funny episode. This was at least in the new Batman Adventures. He played the voice of Bane, and there was an episode where Batman went missing, so Superman had to disguise himself as Batman. So Superman goes up against Bane, and of course he doesn't know what he's going up against with Bane.
Uh huh.
So Bane, it looks like he trounces him, and he says, well, first Bane says, "Batman, I had been afraid you were gone forever. And I was afraid I would never get the chance to hear your spine crumble in my hands or something." You know,
Oh gosh.
he very sinister sounding voice for him, and just
Yeah.
he was also in Megaforce. That's a big favorite of Big Al's. But he you see Henry Silva in a lot of things. Oh, he was in a lot of I used to watch these in Italy they're called I think Polizia Tecas. That's what the name of the genre is. It's the Italian crime
Italian.
movies
Yeah, yeah.
of the
Mm-hmm.
70s, and he was in some of these mob movies where he played hitmen,
Yeah.
ruthless hitmen in these movies. And I guess I don't know if sometimes they would hire American actors for those movies, and he's just brutal stuff. And
I always thought he would have made a great Klingon in the original series.
oh, definitely. I'm surprised. Did he ever show up on Star Trek in anything?
I don't
I
think
don't know.
so.
Okay.
I'll have to look.
But Miss Henry Silva, though, it sounds like he did live a full life, and rest in peace. And here's another one we have.
Yep, I got it.
Oh, okay. I sorry. I just posted. Go ahead and
It's okay.
post the link.
I got him.
From CNN, Louise Fletcher, the actress who won an Academy Award for playing the villainous Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, died Friday in France, according to her agent David Shaw. She was 88. Shaw said Fletcher died of natural causes without providing further details. She was surrounded by family at her home in Monterrey. Monterrey. Well, I'm butchering that town name, but anyway, yeah, no, I mean, Louise Fletcher, she won the Academy Award, I believe, for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
You may know her from Star Trek. She was Kai Gwynn. Gwen.
Yes, she was.
Yes.
A very similar character too.
She had a habit. I'm sure it was a very nice woman in real life, but she had a tendency of playing these very, I want to say, uncomfortable characters, villains. Let's be blunt. She plays villains. Okay,
Yeah.
she played villainous women. But no, great actress. I'm sorry she's left us, but again, I hope she's lived a full life. You know, and,
Sure seems to have. Yeah.
hey, they love.
I mean-
oh, good.
I was going to say, how old was she? She was
88.
88. Yeah, that's wow. Right?
It's a long time. Yeah. All right. Now we move on to you're gonna do the links. That's right. I'm gonna stop doing
Yeah,
that.
I'll take care of the
This.
links. Don't
Okay,
worry
yeah.
about it.
Ezra Miller yet again.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
some weird stuff.
This is from. Okay, I'll just read from this. New Vanity Fair. Oh, wait, let me see if there are any comments. I'm ignoring everybody's comments. Can't remember which movie I saw first. Might have been Sharky's Machine, or the Mega Force, or Alligator. Alligator's a great little movie. He might have played a mob guy in that. And hold on, someone had a Louise Fletcher thing. All right, I know I gotta get through Ezra Miller. Oh, you posted that. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just dropping the links.
Oh,
right.
she was also in Brainstorm. I need to watch Brainstorm. I have it on Blu-ray. I've never seen that movie though. Okay, Ezra Miller, a new Vanity Fair profile of the actor Ezra Miller, who is currently undergoing therapy for their self-admitted complex mental health issues, paints a picture of a person who is not only dangerous, manipulative, and abusive, but also, according to his ex-fiancee, has illusions of grandeur.
Yup.
I thought it was delusions of grandeur. I guess he has
I
that
think
too.
either way works. Yeah. I mean,
In the last 2 years, Miller has had frequent run-ins with the law following reports of multiple assaults, a felony theft, and child endangerment. 2 restraining orders have been issued in 2 states, but Miller remains free, and Warner Brothers is still planning to release The Flash despite the mounting incidents. After facing felony burglary charges in Vermont in August, Miller issued the following statement. Having recently gone through a time of intense crisis, I now understand that I am suffering complex mental health issues and have begun ongoing treatment. I want to apologize to everyone that I have alarmed and upset with my past behavior. I am committed to doing the necessary work to get back to a healthy, safe, and productive stage in my life. Vanity Fair spoke to several unnamed friends and insiders about Miller over a period of 6 months, with several claiming that the actor, who uses they/them pronouns, considers themselves to be Jesus or the devil. While traveling in Iceland with Miller and his spiritual advisor Jasper Young Bear, a 55-year-old North Dakota medicine man, one source told the magazine, Jasper was telling Ezra that he wasn't a part of the movement; he was the movement. That he was the next Messiah, and that the Freemasons were sending demons out to kill him.
well, I mean, these things happen, right?
No, yeah, okay. Another source discussed Miller's relationship with Takata Iron Eyes, the now 18 non-binary indigenous activist whose parents filed a restraining order against the actor in June. Ezra is Jesus, and Takata is an apocalyptic Native American spider goddess, and their union is supposed to bring about the apocalypse. Iron Eyes' mother, Jumping Eagle, confirmed the story to Vanity Fair, saying, Miller says they are some kind of messiah and they're going to lead an indigenous revolution. The actor, whose other film included The Perks of Being a Wallflower, is said by 2 sources to have an altar at the Vermont house where women are asked to leave offerings such as bullets, weed, sage, and action figures of the Flash. Representatives from Miller confirmed some of the details in Vanity Fair, such as Miller keeping several guns and a flamethrower at his farm in Vermont, but also clarified that the weapons are legal and safely stored and locked away. Miller, according to the article, is still in possession of the crossbow from We Need to Talk About Kevin, with which his character kills several students at his high school. In 2018, he told The Hollywood Reporter he had kept the prop from the film. More than one person, including Miller's ex-fiancee Erin, accused the actor of abusive behavior. The way I describe it is this: it's like you're in a non-consensual emotional BDSM relationship with Ezra, said one source. Another source in Hawaii, when asked if he'd ever seen altercations involving Miller, responded, every interaction with Ezra is an altercation. Erin, who did not give her last name, told Vanity Fair, I can make excuses for him all day, but I don't want to anymore. The illusions of grandeur need to be called out. I will love Ezra always, and I don't want him to continue down this dark road. Legal representatives for the actor did not immediately respond to the Rap's request for comment on the Vanity Fair article. Miller is scheduled to be arraigned in a Vermont court on September 26th on the felony burglary charge related to an alleged act of breaking and entry and the theft of alcohol. The restraining order in Massachusetts for the non-binary 12-year-old will be enforced through June of 2023, according to a Vanity Fair source. I just have one question. I'm really looking forward to seeing the movie based on Ezra Miller's life.
Oh God, right?
What is going on here?
Who knows? I have no idea.
This is ridiculous. Who's this other guy running around them saying the Freemasons are after him? What?
I mean, this is clearly delusional stuff. You know,
Oh,
I
my
mean,
goodness.
it's just, I don't know. I just don't know.
Some
what
of you
to
are
say
probably
about
asking, why is Warner Brothers continuing with the flag?
it. Yeah, cocaine is a hell of a drug.
WTF? We only wish this was the extent of his problems right now.
So he's got this weird thing that he does with his pinky and pointer. He's able to bring them together like in a triangle. That's something that I don't think most people can do. And there was a picture I almost used of him, but I couldn't find a good angle of it straight on, where he's got one finger, you know, one hand pointing up and the other one pointing down in that Baphomet type of, you know, pose. I was like, that one actually would have been pretty good, but I went with the more Jesus allegory in the thumbnail.
Funny. Miller DiCaprio flamethrowers at 10 paces. This is reminding me of something out of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but if Tarantino were directing it today. You know? I mean, this is... And the only reason I can think of why Warner Brothers is going ahead with the Flash is they spent too much money on it. They're hoping that maybe they can subdue Miller long enough that people will say, well, he's weird, but I'll still see the movie. And the movie will at least break even. I don't even know if they're even expecting it to be a hit at this point, but if it just breaks even.
If my understanding...
I have no idea. That's the only reason I can think of.
I have a theory that I have not heard anyone else put out. And that's that they're finally at the point of just fuck it all. They need the story that it contains in order to continue their narrative for the ongoing DC thing. So they're going to just put it out. They don't give a shit if it makes money at this point, just so long as, hey, that this story is important. Okay. It's out there if you want to see it. We're going on from there.
How is someone supposed to be both Jesus and the devil?
Some kind of a yin and yang kind of thing.
This is. I'd say it's blasphemous, but it probably goes beyond that. Okay, let's move on. Anything left to say on Ezra?
Speaking of blasphemous, right?
Oh, please. Unless you're talking about the video game blasphemous. Speaking of video games, G4.
Yeah, here we go.
Wait, I'm sorry. You're doing the links. Post the link to the article. Sorry, I did the title already. Okay. Yeah, so we talked a bit about the G4 thing last week and about how Frosk, that's her name. I'm assuming that's her pronoun. A week after big layoffs rocked the network, Kotaku has learned. Yes, it's a Kotaku article. Anyway, never mind. Sorry. Anyway, let me just read. Okay. A week after his big layoffs rocked the network, Kotaku has learned from the X-Play host Indiana Froskurin Black is no longer with G4. Comcast, G4's parent company, bought out.
Can I just say, ding dong, the witch is dead, the witch old witch, the wicked witch. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean... she had that tweet last week saying I survived, and that's like,
yeah, not so much, huh?
Yeah.
Actually, Jeremy from the Quartering specifically pointed to that, saying he thinks that is specifically the reason that she got fired. It's like, oh, you done fucked up, girl. If you just kept your mouth shut and just left it alone, you might still have a job right now.
Yeah, two sources. Kotaku spoke with speculated the timing of the decision may have been related to September 15th tweet, which Black posted meme saying I survived. Yes. G4 and Black did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Apparently, I don't know if Adam Sessler is out, but that other guy is. Carrera, is that his name?
Don't know.
I don't know. The guy was on with Olivia Munn all the time. Kevin Pereira, that sounds right. Okay, yeah, I think he's out as well. Actually, okay, here we go. G4 President Russell Aaron's ex Rebel Network.
Him. There you go.
Here we go. We got another one. Yeah, G4 is in free fall. It's done.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the funny thing too. They talk about the videos they're actually putting out, and they're getting almost no views. Nobody gives a crap anymore. And they just recently did a video with whoever it was, where they played pickleball for an hour and then said their goodbyes and everything. It's like everyone pretty much knows they're closing up shop.
What is pickleball?
It's kind of like a cross between table tennis and actual tennis. It's played with oversized ping pong paddles and a wiffle ball.
Okay. Were they drinking?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. This is all secondhand stuff.
Russell Aarons, an experienced digital executive who joined G4 last September as president, has exited the recently revived network. Aarons, who previously held senior level positions at Warner Brothers, Machinima, and Electronic Arts, left her G4 post in July. Multiple insiders confirmed to Deadline her departure came less than a year after arrival was announced, and the exact circumstances remain unclear. Aarons and Comcast Spectator, Philadelphia-based entertainment and sports division of Comcast, on G4, both declined to comment. Nobody's commenting. I think I know why she was let go. Nobody was watching the channel.
Well, yeah. And let's face it, they were trying to avoid it's obviously her fault. That's why we're firing her. That's why they left her alone. But she decided she had to shoot the shit. And they were like, okay, well, you just gave us a perfectly good reason. You're gone by. That was horrible optics. Even people that would otherwise support her were like, the fuck, girl? You don't do that when a bunch of your coworkers lose their job. You're just a fucking asshole for doing that.
Yeah, I was not even nostalgic for the old G4. I had problems with it.
I never watched it. I didn't care. I knew who Olivia Munn was, but it had nothing to do with G4. It was completely aside from
it. I had many a guy friend that was obsessed with Olivia Munn. Okay.
I can understand it. Very beautiful girl, and she did all the geeky things, but I never watched G4. I knew nothing about that aspect of it.
I used to watch X-Play once in a while. X-Play started out semi-respectable, and then it just evolved over time, and now it's devolved over time. Well, I remember this. I remember this this one video where they were demonstrating the versatility of the game consoles of the period. So it was the original Xbox, the PlayStation 2, and the Nintendo GameCube. And Morgan Webb was doing some kind of weird European accent. It was like an S&M thing where she was bashing the consoles or doing things that damage the consoles. Yeah. And I think PS2 was the first to go because those things were not. You had to be careful with those. And then she did all kinds of things. They kept doing things to the GameCube, and it still worked because Nintendo, most of the time, they built stuff that lasted. It was very difficult to bust up a Nintendo thing. So even when it was beaten up on the outside, it still basically functioned. And then, of course, they had to put their little jab at, that's because so many babies are playing. So yeah, go ahead and make fun of it. Nintendo, make a good product. You got to get it put in the zing. It's the kiddie console. Blah blah.
Deleted Scenes makes a point. I heard they finally fired Adam Sessler as well, but I haven't heard any confirmation. I don't know. Slug in the Ditch blocked me on Twitter. Someone would actually block you on Twitter? You got to be a real kind of special snowflake asshole to block Stephen Otten.
No, Sessler's camp are the snowflakes. So, it's the whole... Not that I want to bring up a... little movement from years back that began with a G and also began with another G. And,
deleted Scenes, Stephen Otten, he's somebody that is so cool, so... I mean mild-mannered in the nicest way. Pleasant, positive. I put him on a shelf with, like, Big Al of Big Al Presents and Nerd Cookies, who we'll be talking about later on.
Nerd Cookies. Okay, let's go to the next article. You gonna post it?
Oh, yep. I just have to hit enter. There we go.
So, Grand Theft Auto 6 leak. We didn't get a chance to talk about this last week.
Yeah, you sent this to me. And then even when I saw it online, I was laughing about this. I'm like, oh my gosh. Really? You know,
This has happened to other companies. This happened
sure
to
it has, and it's a kid that did it. You know.
well, we'll get to that. Yeah. Last of Us Part 2, that got leaked before it was out. Resident Evil, the latest one, Village, that had gotten leaked, and some guy was trying to blackmail Capcom, and they said we're going to post the ending, and Capcom was like, screw it, we're just going to release it. If they want to release the ending, we're not paying them.
Yeah.
I mean, they were angry about it, of course. But okay, I keep this brief. I'm only reading a little bit from this article. Of course, this could be old hat by now, but okay, what has happened? And this is from here. We go and post the link. Okay. So what has happened? In the early hours of 18th September, a poster at GTA forums going by the name of T-Pot Uber Hacker
Whatever.
posted about 90 videos totaling 50 minutes of footage. I'm sorry. I don't know.
I know. It's just you're just reading what it says there, and this is just reality is hysterical these days.
Anyway, totaling 50 minutes of footage from an in-development version of forthcoming video game Grand Theft Auto 6 from Rockstar Games. The footage has since proliferated around social media and the wider internet. Shortly after the initial announcement, the hacker left a message on the forum claiming they wanted to, quote-unquote, negotiate a deal with Rockstar for the return of unreleased data, including the source code for Grand Theft Auto 5 and the in-development version of Grand Theft Auto 6. What does the footage show? A large amount of clearly work-in-progress gameplay from all stages of development. Some of the footage is simple short clips of animation tests. One such video shows a figure leaning out of the window of a car armed with a rifle, aiming in a smooth circle. In others, characters alternately walk and run to test animation progression. Other videos are more detailed. In one, a female player character holds up a diner, pointing a pistol at the cashier who places stacks of dollars on the counter before the player picks up the money and moves on. The scene is voice acted and fluidly animated, but still unpolished, with character models and scenery having none of the detail expected from a finished game.
Sure.
Because it's not finished.
Right.
So I'm not picking.
I don't think anybody is seeing this leaked footage and thinking this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah, even the...
if anything, I think most people would see this and be kind of jazzed if they're looking forward to it.
People are going to buy it regardless. But apparently, Rockstar, they're still working on it. They probably don't want to show footage from an unfinished game like this. Even given the unfinished nature of the clips with debug commands and technical information overlaid, the leaked footage appears to confirm many reported details about the game, including the presence of a female playable character in the single-player campaign for the first time, and the setting of modern-day Vice City, the GTA's world's equivalent of Miami, which featured in 2002's Grand Theft Auto Vice City. That's a spoiler right there, because that's a very popular Grand Theft Auto game. Like Grand Theft Auto 3 was popular. Vice City kind of knocked it off the map. Ray Liotta actually played the voice of the main character in Vice City, in the original Vice City back in the day. Who leaked it though? Teapot Uber hacker also claims responsibility for a recent Uber data breach. Oh, I wouldn't have known since Uber was in his title.
Yeah, right.
And the techniques used to appear are similar. In both cases, the messaging app Slack was a major point of entry, where it's likely that information shared between staff members was used to gain further access to sensitive data. But the Rockstar hack appears less serious than the Uber hack, which involved the attacker gaining administrative access to the entire network, even being able to control the initial response to the hack itself, though total control of Slack's account. In Rockstar's case, the hacker seems to want to shake down the company, as well as the videos, which have already been posted to YouTube as proof of attack. He claims to have source code for GTA 5 and GTA 6 development builds and appears to be blackmailing the developer for it. This is going on a lot these days. I'm not going to say the incident that happened, but even in my workplace,
this is where it starts to get serious. You start blackmailing someone, now we're looking at federal charges.
Yeah.
Which brings us to
the next article, and they did want to make a point that the source code being released, this is this could be very damaging to the company, because this is their trade secrets, right? This is how your secret recipe chicken's made, or in the case of chicken, it's wall chicken. But I'm sorry.
There you go.
Oh, I can't believe I did that.
But seriously, this is to the gaming community though. They see that source code and they're like, "Oh, that's great. That means when I'm playing the game and I want to, go in and do the custom content and have all the girls be topless and have real blood shooting out of the back of people's heads, I can program that in,
This hacker kid is going to be screwed. Yeah, let's read this article. City of London police said today that the arrest took place on Thursday evening and that the suspect remains in custody. Citing a source said to be familiar with the matter, journalist Matthew Keys claimed the arrest is related to the recent Rockstar hack and possibly an Uber security breach too. He said the arrest was made in concert with an investigation being conducted by the FBI. Police expected to give more details on the arrest of 17-year-old Rockstar Games hacker later today. Possibly a statement from FBI later this morning afternoon, he tweeted. Yeah, the FBI got involved in this as well. For all I know, they were on this because of the Uber hack.
Oh,
or maybe it was because of the Rockstar hack. Because I don't know if anything happened before, but they took an interest in this, and they worked with the London police, and this kid's in trouble. Because this isn't just, I don't think he just broke English law, he broke international law. He could be in serious trouble. They're going to probably throw the book at him, and I'm assuming it's a him. I think it is, but what do you think?
I think that this is kind of sad when you think about when I see the lack of cybersecurity and people reacting this way. It's like, look, when kids are hacking into your system like it's 1980s war games here, guys, come on. Get your shit together, be professional, spend the money for actual security so this shit doesn't keep happening. Because if this kid in England is able to hack into your game system, what do you think's going to happen when someone from India or Russia decides they want to really screw you and destroy your company?
Yeah, it's a lot of companies. To be fair, at least the people I work for, they do practice runs, they do education of employees about what to look for, about how people could even seek into the building and stuff. And to be fair, I think I said earlier that was more about something that we used and other companies used that was hacked and ransomed. Well, I don't think it was any of us that I don't think it was. I'm saying too much. I probably shouldn't be talking about this. But my point is, I'm not saying what it was. I'm not saying who I work for. I'm just saying that this stuff is happening more and more common.
And I think it gets to the point where when things keep happening over and over and over again, you see it all around you. When it finally happens to you, it's kind of your own fault at this point.
I have to have identity theft protection because someone hacked into another place I used to work for, and they got my Social Security card. So now I pay for it. We
don't want anyone to know. We don't want to dox, aged boomer. We don't want anyone to know your real name is Ned Schimmelfinney.
Now poor Ned Schimmelfinney out there is going to be a SWAT team showing up at his house. You're
that aged boomer guy who's been saying all this radical right-wing hate speech on his channel.
Please.
Yeah,
I'm an amateur journalist. I'm just reporting things, and we give our own takes, but we do try to be fair.
Careful, you'll get the Alex Jones treatment. I may have just gotten your channel struck.
Come
now.
on, I'm a big fan of Kotaku. Just because they
they
were at the center of the whole corruption in games journalism thing.
And China's really, really good. And go Ukraine, yeah.
So if one Schimmel or two, we're not going to dox myself. I mean the gentleman,
Yeah, exactly.
Ned. Oh, I did it again.
How do you spell Schimmelfinney?
Okay, if you could post the next one.
Yeah, I just did.
We're just rolling along.
I literally have it plugged in. I'm waiting to hit. You're getting ready to go on to the next one. I'll just hit enter.
Do it. Okay. Rings of Power.
Well, they got some kind of power. It's not necessarily a good power.
We have not been covering this show on this
It
channel.
is the power of suck is what it is.
This was my reaction to Rings of Power a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a month or two ago, when they said, okay, so this is going to be based on the
Silmarillion, but it's not even.
And I was like, well, what are they basing it off of? The appendices. And it's like probably a portion of the appendices. And I'm thinking, and I just did a laugh, and I'm like, okay, so they're going to be making shit up. That's what popped in my head.
Yep.
Like, and I'm done. I'm not going there.
And every single one of my friends that knows lots more about, Lord of the Rings and its lore than I do is like, well, that's fine. You can make up stories that take place in the in-between years, but you kind of have, some guidelines you've got to stay within. You got to stay inside the lines, and they ain't doing that.
Yeah. Forbes is fake news. The terrible writing. I'll say this: there was what was it? There's some writer on Forbes that I had to stop using his articles because they were so horribly written. I'm like, I'm not posting anymore. Right.
But the fact that this particular article came up in Forbes is very telling.
Yeah,
it says a lot. It
basically
basically demonstrates the industry has turned on Amazon and this particular show.
Here we go. So I just have 3 paragraphs from this article. You read the rest on your own. I come to a sad realization. The creators of Amazon's Lord of the Rings of Power know how to create spectacle, but they don't know how to tell a good story. Yep. There it is, scrawled in blood and on the wall. The writers and showrunners responsible for the show could have won me over with good fan fiction. They could have tossed Tolkien's lore onto a bonfire, and I'd have been perfectly happy if they'd simply crafted an enjoyable story with characters I care about. Unfortunately, The Rings of Power is written so poorly, it defies even my worst fears. Oh yes, I was awed and impressed by the opening 2 episodes, just like many others. But my, how quickly a badly written TV show can wear out its welcome once the shimmer fades. This is becoming with a lot of these streaming series, this is becoming like a telltale sign. Like they always start out strong and then they devolve the further you go into them.
In fairness, you could say, especially with these spectacle type shows, right? This has always been part of the formula, because even going back to think back to the first episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, Encounter at Farpoint was done as a feature film, and it had a huge budget, and they got all of their models made and their special effects. They got a lot of stock footage they were going to use throughout the series. That's why they did that saucer separation, so that they would have that effect later on in the show. But then going forward, because you're going to be kind of resting on your laurels because you've already blown your wad as far as budget goes, you gotta have the writing there. And clearly, the writing is not there for this Rings of whatever.
Rings of Power. Oh, look who's here. Janet from another planet.
Yep.
Welcome. We are sick of all the liberties they take just to ruin our favorite stuff.
That's why they call them liberals.
Well, it's not just that, though. Let's be blunt.
No, you're absolutely right.
Many writers in Hollywood have been quote-unquote liberal over the years. This is not news.
That's true.
But they put the storytelling first. The politics was a side thing.
It's gone way beyond that. It's become, this is what happens when it's all about diversity hires. You're not hiring talent. You're hiring a skin color or a gender or whatever.
J.J. Abrams' friends, because these weren't even a quote-unquote diversity hire, at least for the showrunners. But they were
true.
It's just, I don't know. Anyway, check out Janet from Another Planet if you haven't watched already. She has these wonderful short videos. She had one with tiny hands. She had these 2 tiny hands on her. I can't explain it. She doesn't have tiny hands. I don't know what kind of hands she has. I'm just saying. There you go.
What are we talking about?
I don't know. We're talking about Rings of Power. Will you stay on point, please?
I'm trying. I'm sorry. I got distracted by tiny hands.
Let's go to Nerd Cookies. Go to the Mountain Comics article. Just post it.
Yep.
We love Nerd Cookies on this channel. Lovely voice. Okay.
And I don't just mean the kind that my wife bakes,
What are nerd cookies? Are they like Spock's ears in a cookie form?
No. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's funny. No, she's her icon is literally like a chocolate chip cookie with a bite out of it, but it's like a neon sign. It's really kind of cool. Go check out her channel.
Okay. That makes everything look bigger. That's going back to the hands. Let's not.
Yeah. Oh, now we're going to Deadpool. Oh my. Let's not go down that road, Janet. Okay.
Ryan Reynolds is brilliant
He
at
is.
passing insults. He's all right. YouTuber Nerd Cookies recently provided a thorough analysis on how the Lord of the Rings of Power have bastardized Galadriel. Before
Yep.
diving into analysis, Nerd Cookies points out that the warrior Galadriel story sadly follows the trend of needlessly deconstructing yet another beloved legacy character, sacrificing one of Tolkien's beloved creations at the altar of lazy and contrived storytelling. Beginning her analysis, Nerd Cookies points to the first two episodes of the series that depicts warrior Galadriel as the commander of the northern armies traveling to remote locations of Middle-earth in order to hunt down Sauron and the orcs. After recounting how Galadriel's soldiers mutiny against her after defeating a snow troll and even discovering Sauron's sigil, Nerd Cookies notes, I have so many issues with this depiction of Galadriel. The showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay took one line from the novel they don't have the rights to describing Galadriel as having an eye of a commander. It'd be funny if that one line was taken from a portion they weren't allowed to use.
Yeah.
Okay, she continues. Because of this, they chose to make her commander of the Northern armies in their story. But even in the context of the show, she doesn't feel like a commander at all. She may possess this title, but she doesn't act like a leader, nor does she appear to garner any respect from her troops, as her gaze is filled with nothing but disdain, bordering contempt for anyone who would dare question her or dare question her mission or her methods. Nerd Cookies then states this begs the question if her troops are insufferable and able to continue under her charge, how is the audience supposed to respect her? They chose to depict her in this way so they can include the cliche of her being the only one who knows of the danger Sauron poses, to be the only one hunting for him. After pointing out this trait is outright slated for in the fourth episode in a conversation to Muriel, Nerd Cookies explains why it is such a major problem. It sacrifices the intelligence of other legacy characters she comes across. Just from the context of the show itself, it makes no sense for Galadriel to be aware of the threat of Sauron. She elaborates, notably, this directly impacts High King Gilgalad as he's made out to be willfully ignorant with a gaze suggesting an almost malicious intent. His reaction to Galadriel's ambition to essentially retire her from the service, sending her back to Valinor, a move which he foolishly claims would somehow lessen the likelihood of Sauron's return. Moving her focus to the third and fourth episodes, when Galadriel arrives in Numenor, Nerd Cookies asserts she appears to be regressing as a character and points to how she is quote unquote stupidly impulsive. She is all too happy to draw her dagger at the slightest provocation, sometimes with no provocation at all, and without asking questions or considering the consequences of her actions, he explains. Nerd Cookies goes on to question why this depiction of the character was done in the first place, and specifically addresses a theory that it's done to give her character arc and the experiences add wisdom. However, she rejects this theory, noting the show itself establishes that Galadriel is at this point several thousands of years old, having been alive before the First Age during the events of the trees. Add this to the fact that she is depicted in a position of leadership over others. It seems so unrealistic for a being who has already lived through and experienced so much to not know the simple less to choose her battles wisely. The lesson to choose her battles wisely. You can hear more over on Nerd Cookie's channel. She sounds much nicer than I do.
Yes. Nothing against Aged Boomer. She just has an incredibly beautiful voice.
Yes, and I don't know. I have not been paying attention to this show. I have basically been ignoring it. I am going to say this, my own opinion about this. I know people are upset about the show, a lot of Tolkien aficionados, Lord of the Rings fans. This too shall pass. That's what I want to tell them.
Oh, yeah.
Tolkien's work is English literature. It's done.
Yeah.
It's already in cement. Even if back in the day they had made a terrible Lord of the Rings trilogy, which they did, and I actually thought it was rather good. Though some Tolkien fans didn't like the Jackson trilogy. Some loved it. It just depends on your opinion. But at least Jackson respected the source material. You can't argue that. And
I would also say that and also if you are like me, who is also a fan of Dune, Nerd Cookies has some great videos about Dune lore as well. But by comparison, I know that going back a ways when Frank Herbert's son started writing with another author, I don't really remember who, they started doing all these prequels and filler stories in between and whatnot. And they veered away from the lore of Dune as well. And I didn't like that. And it just didn't feel right. And I'm really at the point where, like you said, I like what I like. It exists. Leave it alone. It's done. If you want to make a movie of what already exists, go ahead and do it. Just be as faithful as Peter Jackson was. If you're not going to do that, leave it the F alone, because you're just going to lose money on it.
And Jackson took his little liberties. Like, I don't think no one tosses a dwarf. I don't know if that was in the original Lord of the Rings, but I laughed when I heard Gimli say that line.
Yeah.
And
that's definitely, you couldn't have that in the original book because it's kind of a reference to a cultural phenomenon that was more like 60s and 70s that he was referencing. So,
But whatever, it was a fun little throwaway line. And like I said, some Tolkien aficionados don't like the Jackson trilogy. I was not a big fan of his Hobbit trilogy. I know that was a case of Murphy's Law interfering as well. I know that I'm not laying all the blame at Jackson, because I know the studio was interfering a lot too. And
yes,
but and this just strikes me as a disaster. But here's the deal: you have your books, you have the original trilogy. I'll be blunt. I was terrified back in the day when that trilogy was coming out, because I wanted to love it. I see these trailers and I'm getting hyped. I'm like, oh my goodness, are they really gonna pull this off? That one trailer they had, it was on, I think it was after the premiere of an episode of Angel back in the 90s, and they showed the first trailer they showed her like another trailer for Fellowship of the Ring, and it was terrifying. Like you hear Gandalf talking about birds, beasts, and you see the Nazgul, and it's like, the enemy has many spies, and it really gave me that epic feel, and I still to this day love that trailer, and the movie was good too, obviously, that followed it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the Lord of the Rings movies, you have extended cuts, and if you want to go further, you have those Hobbit movies and extended cuts. I have issues with the Hobbit movies, but I know that they're probably light years better than what we're seeing on this Amazon series. So
yeah, I have a fan edit of those 3 movies that actually is much closer.
One movie.
Yes, much closer.
I bet you could re-edit that movie and make
it's very easy to do. Yes.
Can you take out the stone giants smacking each other? I got the impression in the Hobbit novel that was a metaphor, that you wouldn't actually have giants made of stone hit each other. And then I'm looking at the Jackson film like, oh, he took that literally.
Yeah.
I thought that's what it looked like through the dwarves' eyes, because that's how bad the lightning and the storm was. I didn't expect that was actually happening, but maybe I don't know anything. I don't know.
Well, there you go.
Okay. But
anyway.
Moving on.
Yep.
Okay, we're just rolling through stories tonight, aren't we?
Yes, we're doing good. We're doing good.
I have to say, like Troy sent me, like I was still sending Troy stories, like, Boomer, you have to, we've got enough as it is, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I looked, and I don't think I had the full note list yet. Like, and then they sent me the phone, like, I like,
yeah,
my heart skipped a beat. I'm like,
and in fact, when I had first did it, I had forgotten you sent me one immediately after last week's show. So that one wasn't even on the notes yet, and I had to add it in. So it was getting wider and wider.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why Avatar: The Way of Water took so long to make? Oh, you were supposed to post this. I'm sorry.
I did.
It's such a habitual thing. Well, you did?
I'm just trying to help you out here.
Okay, I know. It's a habitual thing for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to read long from this because we were under, but I'll read a bit from this article. You can check out more. It's from MovieWeb. As Avatar: The Way of Water's premiere date looms, stakes are high for James Cameron and 20th Century Studios, with a budget of over 250 million and three more Avatar sequels planned for the future. The Way of Water needs to be a massive success to make all of this waiting and money worth it. After so many years of build-up, fans and critics alike are ready to see Cameron's new vision of the world of Pandora realized on screen. Cameron remarked that the pandemic hit us like everybody, resulting in 4.5 months of lost production time and 1 year release date delay. If not for the pandemic, then Avatar's sequel may have been available to audiences as early as last December. Some things were simply have simply been out of Cameron and his crew's control. Avatar fans who don't look beyond the Way of Water may not be seeing the big picture. He goes on to say, Cameron's plans for the franchise are far bigger than one sequel, with Avatar 3, 4, and 5 all slated to be for release by the year 2028. This sprawling plan for the series has deeply impacted the production schedule of Avatar: The Way of Water. When Cameron announced in 2010 that he would be shooting Avatar 2 and 3 back to back, there were concerns that the project had grown too big to manage, and these concerns have not been put to rest in the decade following. Not satisfied with retreading the ground by the first movie, Cameron decided he would leave the cliffs and forests of his sci-fi planet behind when making Avatar: The Way of Water. As its name suggests, our setting this time around is the ocean. The film will, of course, spend time on land too, but one of the key selling points of the sequel is its breathtaking introduction to Pandora's aquatic flora and fauna. Avatar 2, huh?
I don't know. Yay. I mean, I know the first movie did really well. A lot of people liked it, so I'm happy for all of y'all that are really looking forward to seeing that. I have seen it, yeah. In fact, we did a rewatch of it on Netter's channel.
Okay. I remember when Avatar came out. This was the live action movie because you had 3D movies before, like Pixar had done their movies in 3D and like DreamWorks Animation, like a lot of the animated movies have been done 3D, but this was the first one that was live action to utilize at least the new 3D they were using in those animated movies for a live action movie, and people were obsessed with this movie. I've had other people argue though that like a year or two after it came out that suddenly Avatar disappeared from the cultural landscape and it didn't have as big a cultural impact as it did that first year.
Well, Horizon Talker is bringing up a great question. Was anyone really asking for an Avatar sequel? Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say yes. There are some real crazy diehard fans of the Avatar series. I mean, I see people going in, the blue leotards and cat faces to these conventions, and I mean, yeah, there's people that are real into it. So it's they're hearing this and seeing there's another movie and that there's other movies planned after it that are all excited. I just look at the first Avatar movie, and I agree with a lot of people that said it's basically Dances with Wolves in space. And I'm like, oh, great. Now we're getting Waterworld in space. That's just wonderful.
Because it's focused on water this time around.
And the other thing that bothers me about this is while he's focused on this, we're still not getting an Alita 2.
Okay, I can explain the whole Alita 2 situation. I'm sorry, the studio that created Alita 2, Alita Battle Angel, no longer exists, and I'd love to think that under Disney's command and 20th Century Studios that they would do an Alita sequel. It's the only thing that could even allow it is if these Avatar movies do so well that they might make an Alita sequel as a favor to Cameron, but I don't think they will. Here's the ironic thing about all of this. I blame Disney for
absolutely.
Alita Battle Angels.
For frick's sake, I blame Disney for friggin' everything at this point. I blame them for the Ukraine-Russia problem. I don't know how it's connected, but I still want to blame them for it.
You never know. Anyway, let me get back to this, though. What I was trying to say was, though, when Alita Battle Angel came out, I noticed a lot in the press were saying, oh, it's not going to do well this weekend. And a lot of people have theorized that they were not wanting Alita Battle Angel to steal the thunder away from Captain Marvel, because this was another female-led. I mean, in a way, in a sort of, she's a superhero of sorts, right?
Yeah,
Movie
sure.
going up again, like Captain Marvel comes out a couple weeks later, and I
I
think
mean, it depends on which one
Avatar-
you're. It depends on which one you're talking about. If you're talking about Alita Battle Angel, absolutely she's a superhero. If you're talking about Captain Marvel, of sorts, I guess, sort of.
anyway. They were intending, and I think that 20th Century Fox was still running it, and I think that those critics sabotaged the box office a little bit, and I'll explain to you why. Some of the pull of going to see big movies and the weekend they come out, there is a social element to it. You wanna go see it with your friends, or maybe you want to talk to people at work about it who've also seen it. It gives you something. I'm not going to say that's the sole reason people watch movies and watch television shows, but that can be part of it.
Yeah.
There's a social aspect to it, and I think by doing that, they were trying to destroy that social aspect and saying, "Hey, it's probably not going to do well. It's a waste of time." And they're like, "Oh, well, maybe I'll catch it on Netflix or something." People probably said, and I think that damaged it. I still think it did pretty well over here, but not well enough. It did very well in China, of all places. They loved it over there. That was like a record over there.
How well do you think Captain America did in China? Just wondering. Or yeah, whatever. Captain Marvel, right?
I do not know. I think if 20th Century Fox was still around, they probably would have continued on with Alita. I think they would have, but they're not around anymore. Disney now owns 20th Century Fox. Now they call it 20th Century Studios. Avatar is a holdover from that. It was already in development. And of course, Disney had a big thing at one of their theme parks, Animal Kingdom, based on Avatar. Disney has an interest in seeing these movies do well. It's James Cameron.
so much so that they'll gin up the numbers and have you believing that it actually surpassed $1 billion in sales.
Well, I think this one does have to do well because they're spending a ton of money on it.
No, I was talking about Captain Man-Pants, but
yeah. But here's the. I think that this movie will. I don't know if this is going to do well or not. It's definitely slated as the big Christmas movie.
Oh yeah, I think Christmas. I think let's go see blue aliens in the water. Yeah.
Okay. What I'm trying to say is people like to go see a blockbuster around Christmas time, and for many years Disney held that with their Star Wars releases, which I know you didn't care for them, but people did go see them.
Oh, you're serious?
They listen to me. When Force Awakens came out, everybody was scared to go up against it at the box office, and I think maybe Disney is planning. They're not doing any more Star Wars movies, as you notice. Rogue One has been removed from the development cycle. I'm thinking that they're big. They're trying to own the holidays again with these Avatar movies.
No, good luck to them.
These are in so many ways their replacement for their Star Wars movies. These are these big deal science fiction movies that had a wide appeal. The first one did. So now I think they're hoping to duplicate that with these sequels. Now, I don't know if it's going to do well or not. Cameron's odd because his movies typically do very well. Well, maybe The Abyss didn't. Was The Abyss a bomb of his? The underwater aliens.
I don't know. I saw that one too. It was okay.
It was all right. Yeah, it was all right. But
pick your ending. That's another one of those. Yeah, I like this comment. Avatar the movie is not my thing, but Avatar the Last Airbender is one of the best cartoons ever made. I'm not sure I would go that far, but I can see you saying that, Mr. Manchester.
Well, that already got a movie based on it, though, directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, he specified the animated version, not that. Yes, thank you, Horizon Talker. I super appreciate that.
I am going to be very curious, though, because this is where we learn. Is 20th Century Studios, even though they're now owned by Disney, are they still somewhat independent and can do their own thing?
I don't think so.
Is it going to be still this Disney muck? I don't know.
I said way back then, they should have kept it separate. They should have kept running 20th Century Fox separately. taken what they wanted for their superhero stuff, but then let 20th Century Fox keep making their own movies, put it out on Hulu, Disney does Disney on Disney Plus, and allow 20th Century Fox keep making older adult type stuff on Hulu but I don't know who the hell's running the business model over there at Disney anymore. These are the same dingbats that, some people say that they're playing 3D chess over there. And, pretty soon, these SJWs, they're just writing their own check out the door, and we just see more and more of the same shit. And actually, that's bringing us right up to the next article, if you want to make a transition.
Go ahead and post the link in the title. But I'm going to say this though. Do you think we'll see a thing in the Avatar movies say Blue Lives Matter? They probably won't.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. I could totally see that. Yeah.
Because the aliens are blue.
Yeah.
Never mind. Zoe Saldana, though, she's still a big actress. I don't know so much about... Was it Armie Hammer? No, it was the other guy. I kept getting the leads confused. It wasn't Armie Hammer. He's the cannibal. Who was the other dude? Or is
I don't know.
Whoever was in Avatar, the lead actor.
I don't know. Some pretty boy. I don't recall.
All right. I think he was in the Clash of the Titans remakes. I don't know. Anyway,
I certainly didn't see those.
Okay, prominent anti-ESG Disney investor calls on company to commit to political neutrality before they're expected to take sides. That won't be favorable. I'll read a bit from the spelling. The comics, in the midst of the ongoing public backlash against the company's recently foray into political activism, prominent anti-ESG Disney investor Vivek Ramaswamy has made a personal plea to the House of Mouse for them to refrain from stepping further into this arena. Otherwise, he warns, they will be expected to take sides that won't be favorable to its business. The founder of biopharmaceutical company Ruvent Sciences and the author of Woke Inc. inside corporate America's social justice scam, Ramaswamy, if it wasn't already apparent by the title of his book, has been a fervent critic of corporate America's recent obsession with following environmental, social, and governance (ESG) principles, which in short essentially serve as rubrics against which companies can rank their commitments to such goals as promoting diversity, fighting climate change, performing social outreach, and the like. On September 19th, speaking as representative of his recently co-founded Strive Asset Management and those investors who, through his firm, have some level of stake in the entertainment company, Ramaswamy issued a formal letter to Disney CEO Bob Chapek asking him to take corrective action in the face of, quote-unquote, an unprecedented public approval ratings collapse following the company's public embrace of controversial political positions in deference to social activists. Citing such events as the company's battle with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis over the state's newly passed parental rights and education law, their firing of Gina Carano, and their various attempts to weigh in on anti-abortion legislation, Ramaswamy would lament there is no evidence to suggest that these positions have benefited Disney stockholders and a growing body of evidence to suggest that they have harmed Disney stockholders. To the contrary, just last week you praised Disney for standing our ground, he asserted. We find these comments deeply troubling for Disney's future. To this end, Ramaswamy then took a moment to remind Disney's board it owes a fiduciary duty solely to Disney's actual owners, not to new.
Pause right there. Pause right there. That's a very important phrase. When someone uses the phrase fiduciary duty, those two words say a whole lot in the business world. That is someone saying, if you don't get your shit together, we as shareholders will sue you for not making us the money you're supposed to be making. You are clearly doing things that are working at cross purpose to making money, which is what our interests are. So this is someone basically saying, get ready for a lawsuit or get your shit together.
Yeah. Duty to its actual owners, not to a minority of its employees, activist organizations, or to large financial institutions promote one-sided political agendas. That last part, the large financial institutions, we're going to get to that. In 2022, the three largest passive asset managers in the world, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, were Disney's top three shareholders, he detailed. By contrast, the actual owners of Disney are not BlackRock, State Street, or Vanguard, or for that matter, Strive. Disney's actual owners are the clients of these institutions, everyday citizens whose capital is invested in passively managed index funds. I'm not a financial expert at all, but I know that if you work for perhaps maybe you get a 401k with your company that you work for, maybe, or perhaps if you you could get a pension from a government institution, or maybe you're on a private plan with them as well. These funds tend to get managed by these institutions who also have an interest of promoting. So basically, they get the money the employees funnel into it to invest in these stocks so they can help pay for the retirement. But then these asset managers say, well, we get to now, since we have all this money and we're now from these individuals, it ends up being a large, they're like one large shareholder, even though they're really made up of many little shareholders that don't know how the money is being managed. And now they get to dictate, I'm assuming, the environmental, social, and what was the other one? Global, whatever.
But if you want a much better, much more insightful breakdown of this, I don't know specifically if they've done videos on it. If they haven't, they will be. Look at Valiant Renegade. Look at Midnight's Edge. They'll be talking about these very things. But what it comes down to is what I've been saying all along. We have people out there that are what I call pixie dusters that will defend Disney up and down, that, just really, really want to believe that, Disney has everybody's best interests at heart. And that Bob Chapek, he is playing 4D chess, and he is going to make sure that the Kevin Feige's and the Kathleen Kennedy's are heading out the door. He's not playing frickin' 4D chess, guys. He's playing jacks in the corner wearing a dunce hat. He is not fucking paying attention to what is going on. Nobody is. There is nobody at the wheel over at Disney except the Wokosos, leftists that are running this country, or this country. Well, they're running this country into the ground too, but specifically Disney, this company, into the ground. And somebody is standing up and saying, we need an adult to take the fucking wheel already.
I have a question, though. Are BlackRock and State Street, these other things, actually able to bully CEOs into doing what they want? Is that what's going on here? I mean, are they able to basically say, hey, we're your big investors, you better have such and such diversity in your movies, or blah, blah, or we're going to pull funding and put our money somewhere else? Is that what's going on here?
In physics, there is a concept that energy and matter are the same thing, just in different forms. In the business world, money and power are the same things, just in different forms.
The article, last bit I'm going to read is, you owe fiduciary duty to the actual owners of Disney, not to the institutions who claim to represent them. Yes, the people, the individual stockholders. Because obviously if Disney puts out shows like She-Hulk and they're a disaster and nobody watches them, that hurts the bottom line. And then is BlackRock on the hook for this, or all the poor people who are trying to manage their future retirement on the hook for this?
And one could argue that a company like BlackRock, if they know this is going to hurt the finances, but they have other cross purposes, they can live with that. They don't care.
Yeah.
But the people that are investing are getting pissed.
Yeah, his last quote is, there is a strong reason to believe that these large asset managers are not acting with their clients' best interests in mind. This may be too far gone. I mean, I would imagine that the reason they're doing this is that they believe in the cause. But what if they don't believe in the cause and are actually trying to hurt Disney? I don't know why they would do that, though.
Because they're trying to bring about political change in the world overall. That's a topic for another
tank
day.
The
though.
economy, so I don't know. It's
or like I said, remember, money and power. It's mutable, and it's just that when you redistribute wealth, you redistribute power. So just keep that in mind.
Good night, Horizon Talker. Thank you for stopping by. You can catch the rest later. All right. So, do you want to do the next? I don't know. I'm just thinking something has to shift at some point. I mean, I don't think anybody's watching Rings of Power, are they? Is it doing well ratings-wise? Not that we don't, because Amazon.
No, it is not.
But, I mean,
no, it
I
is
don't
not.
hear anybody talking about it.
Valiant Renegade did a great video specifically about the numbers. Go check that out.
Okay. Because I don't hear anybody talking about that. And is She-Hulk a big hit?
Nope.
I'd rather
Nobody
watch
likes it.
The Ms. Marvel show than She-Hulk, even though
the only people that are watching She-Hulk are wine moms, and specifically women that happen to be lawyers. I have a buddy who's a lawyer, and one of his coworkers said, "Oh, I love the show. It's very empowering and blah 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 blah. And you don't understand what it's like to be a woman." I'm like, well, there you go. That's who's watching it, not actual fans of the Marvel, thing.
Well, they're just trying to broaden the audience. They figure the Marvel fans will just watch anything with Hulk in the title, right?
And it's clearly not the case. They're finding that out.
Okay, so you don't think he's playing 4D chess, though, huh?
No, he's playing with himself in the corner.
Do you think? This reminds me of? Do you remember the episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation, where Picard was on the ship, but it wasn't really Picard, and he was saying, "Take the Enterprise into the sun closer." Remember? He kept telling them to take this.
Oh yeah, to see how far the people would follow him. Yeah.
Didn't Riker eventually? Didn't he have to he basically had to take command.
Yeah.
And say,
Exactly.
Us, which I thought was interesting because we have leaders today that reminded me of that scenario.
Yep.
We won't go there.
Absolutely.
Okay. So here we go. You want to go to the next thing?
Yep. Which one is it?
Dawn of the Dead.
Okay, thank you.
I
just wanted confirmation. Yep.
Remember the old Count Floyd SCTV shorts?
Yes, I do. In 3D. Woo!
They're on YouTube. You can catch them. Dr. Tongue's House of Cats. Dr. Tongue's 3D House of Stewart. And it was always Dr. Tongue, and it was John Candy and Igor sidekick. And the funny thing was, these looked like, even though it was made on was shot on video, but they felt like those movies you'd watch on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like
and the 3D effect was the camera zooming in and out,
bad. But anyway, apparently, Dawn of the Dead. I had read about this a while back. People over here in North America are saying, why hasn't Dawn of the Dead been released on Blu-ray? Now, to be fair, in the early days of Blu-ray, Anchor Bay did release Dawn of the Dead, but it quickly went out of print, and it's been MIA ever since. Recently, I think there's been a 4K restoration that was released in Europe, and we're wondering, where's our 4K restoration? Well, apparently the producers of Dawn, the Richard P. Rubenstein, I think that's who it was, he wanted to retrofit the original Dawn of the Dead and make it into a 3D movie to release in theaters.
Okay.
And I think that's why we haven't gotten the Blu-ray release yet, because he's apparently spent a lot of money getting this thing 3D-ified, if that's a proper term.
3D-ified. It worked for me. I understand what you mean.
Why? Answer money. I mean, I don't know. This is the most bizarre project. Let me read this. George A. Romero's masterpiece, Dawn of the Dead, is returning to the big screen this Halloween season. And this time it's headed our way in eye-popping 3 dimensions. Regal will exclusively be screening Dawn of the Dead 3D on October 28th, October 29th, October 30th, and October 31st in theaters nationwide, and tickets are up for grabs now. From D-Next Media and New Amsterdam Entertainment Inc., the special event will play in 250 theaters worldwide with a minimum of 6 shows at each site. Um, okay, so here's the thing. I guess it's a limited release, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know who the audience is for this exactly, because the kids are they going to go out and see a movie from 1978 in 3D? I mean, I guess people went to go see Star Wars Special Edition when it came out.
True.
Of course, again, that was in the 90s. I don't know. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Dawn of the Dead, the Romero version, the original George Romero version. I got it on VHS a couple of times. I got both that and the Cannes cut or whatever Sundance cut that was released. I got both.
Yeah.
I got the regular DVD of it. I got the Blu-ray 4-disc set that came out later, and it's a very nice. It's one of my most prized DVD sets that I'm sure will be underwater in a few days. I'm sorry. I'll be good. Anyway, though, it was a neat set because it contained like the original cut they did, then the theatrical cut, and then the European cut, which was the one that was released by Dario Argento, because Dario Argento helped fund Dawn of the Dead. The trade-off was you can make the movie however you want, but I get final cut on the European release, and I distribute it in Europe. So Dario Argento kind of edited the movie himself for the European audience, whereas George Romero, his cut was released over here. It's very interesting to watch the two cuts. Like the Argento cut is more horror based. The Romero one has more of the like social type commentary in it.
Mm-hmm.
But and it's interesting to watch the different versions because there are different scenes and different lines in both versions. Like I watched there's a wonderful line in the Argento cut where I think Peter and I forget the character's name, the one they called Flyboy, and they're having a conversation, and Fly was like, well, they're so stupid, the zombies are so stupid, and like we can, and Peter says, they have one advantage over us. You know what that is? No, they don't think. I don't know what he meant by that. I'm like, does he realize it's all instinct with them? That's why they're so good at attacking people? I don't know, but Dawn of the Dead, the original, it's a wonderful horror movie. It's, in my opinion, probably the best zombie movie ever made. I mean, I love Night of the Living Dead and Day of the Dead, but this is like almost on an epic scope. And I know a lot of people are more familiar with the Zack Snyder remake, but the original is excellent. I may actually check this out in 3D just for the heck of it. Maybe they'll give me a freebie with it. Maybe they'll give like sometimes it's not nice with these special screenings. They give you a free little poster or something. I don't know.
I just checked and I saw that it's playing fairly near to us, so we probably could go see it.
I don't know how it's going to be in 3D though, because the thing about 3D movies is movies have to be shot for 3D.
No, they don't.
Are
Nowadays,
you sure about that?
Yes, I absolutely positive. They can now take any film and run it through like an AI thing and make it 3D. Now, I'd be surprised if it's that same kind of like 80s style 3D where it looks like it's coming off the screen at you. It'll probably be the kind of 3D we've been seeing for so long where it looks like a picture box, like from the screen going back and has added depth, but we'll see.
This is such a 70s era movie too. I mean, I know we think of stuff like Halloween, but like Dawn of the Dead, if you want to think of it, it's even more 70s than Halloween.
It really is.
Just the grittiness, the American grittiness. It's just, I will say this though, I've always loved this movie. I love all the characters in it, at least the main 4 characters. They're like revisiting old friends every time I watch it. And
watching them get eaten.
Well, they don't all get eaten. Not gonna say who gets eaten, but
it's like visiting old friends and watching them get killed one by one.
I am gonna say this about George Romero, and he made a point, and this is good for you wannabe filmmakers out there. I heard once on a podcast they said that whenever Romero, someone you care about, is gonna get killed, Romero turns the camera away. Now, of course, if it's someone you don't know or if it's one of the bad people in the movie, you'll get to see them be zombie food.
All the glory details, yeah.
He'll turn away if it's a character you care about, and I think that's interesting that he does that. He gives those characters some amount of dignity.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting.
And I think that's good. That's good storytelling. I think it is. And sometimes that's even worse, right? I mean, just like think about, why we even have wakes, right? So that we can see this person that we loved is gone. This is clearly not them anymore. You get that closure. You kind of don't get that closure if you don't see the character die on screen, right?
No, like usually, like you'll hear like I think of one scene early on, one of the SWAT team members can't handle the carnage, and he turns the gun on himself, and Romero cuts away, and you hear the shot, and you're like, "Oh, this is awful."
That's
like,
rough.
That whole scene,
yeah.
that whole scene in like the tenement complex is terrifying. In the beginning of the movie.
Yep. Talk
about it, the one place you don't want to be during a zombie outbreak is like in the projects and stuff. It's just no. It's just it's a wonderful horror movie. You've never seen it. You got a chance to see it for the first time on the big screen in 3D.
Yeah.
And I may check it out because it's been like a bucket list for me. If I could, I mean, I love Dawn of the Dead, but I'd love to see it on a big movie theater screen. So I
see that as
yeah.
I see that as a win-win. If it's on your bucket list, go get a bucket of popcorn and watch it. Yeah.
I think I will. I think I'll do that. And I think I will go see this movie when it comes out. It's going to be showing 4 different nights. So I should be able to attend one of them. So, all right. So that's Dawn of the Dead. So it is coming to Regal Cinemas if you have one in your area. So let's do the next one.
Yep. And just tying this back to an earlier one, this is another one that Nerd Cookies has a video out about.
Jim Straczynski rallies fans to save the Babylon 5 reboot. The Babylon 5 reboot at the CW managed to survive the many rounds of cuts the network made in the lead up to its eventual sale. According to creator J. Michael Straczynski. Straczynski.
Yeah.
Okay, Straczynski.
Yeah.
However, the fate of the show is still uncertain, and he wants fans to express their support for the show on the interweb, so the CW's new owners, as well as Warner Brothers TV, know there's an audience for the sci-fi show. The fate of Babylon 5 pilot may be decided end of this month. Straczynski
wrote, I'll just say Straczynski every time you pause.
wrote on Twitter, though much of the CW was bought by the NXST Media Group, the decision also rests heavily with Warner Brothers TV. If fans want to show their support to Babylon 5 and let them know that you want this to happen, now is the time.
Straczynski.
Also dropped the hashtag @B5 on CW in 23 as the rallying point for fans to prove their desire to see the reboot. The hashtag became the top trending on Twitter at one point, so here's hoping the CW and Warner Brothers TV are listening. What was Nerd Cookie saying about this? I'm curious.
Well, she's been covering all the news as it comes out about this plan and whatnot. She had a great one about the 2 different projects. One that's actually happening regardless of anything else. It's already finished, done, filmed, and will be coming out. And then there's this one that may or may not happen. So yeah, she's got a lot of insights on that. But my personal take, I loved Babylon 5. I'm not in a huge hurry to see a new version of it or a reboot or anything, even if Straczynski is behind it. I feel the story was told. I could see him trying to say, well, you know what? It wasn't the story I wanted to tell. I had 5 stories or 5 seasons planned out, and they messed me up, and I had to change my main actor, and blah, 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 and this and that. So now I'm going to go back and tell it exactly the way I wanted to tell it.
It sounded from the description that's going to be a very different series. I mean, these might be using some of the same characters, but it's going to be a very different series. I mean, I don't know, just from the rumors I've heard or the news. I don't know. I would like a really good science fiction series. The fact that he's behind it again, that gives me pause. That maybe
can you imagine the way I'm seeing this, knowing what I know?
Like those Planet of the Apes, the newer Planet of the Apes movies that made compared to the
No, actually, I would say it would be more like, can you imagine if instead of George Lucas going back and doing his special editions, if instead, after doing Star Wars Empire and Jedi, he went back and told the Star Wars he originally wanted to do with Star Killer and
Yes.
all that. That's what I'm thinking this is going to be.
It might, and I don't know. I mean, this is an I don't know for me. I mean, I know deleted scenes thinks it's probably good as is, and you're probably right, or you might be
Mm-hmm.
right, but I don't know. I mean, I would give it a chance if it came on. We'll
Oh,
see,
I
though.
would. I would too. I am very reticent. I think is the only way I can put it. I'm very concerned. Kind of like you were saying you were when you saw that they were doing Lord of the Rings originally. It's like, oh, I don't know about this. I hope it'll be good, but I don't know. I guess we'll see.
If you can get through the first 20 minutes of Dawn of the Dead, you can make it through the rest of the movie. Yeah, and I almost
Yeah.
want to say you can make it through the first 10 minutes of Suspiria. You could get through the rest of the movie, maybe. I don't know. There was that whole that was the movie Dario Argento put out before Dawn of the Dead. The guy that helped produce Dawn of the Dead. It was a movie about witchcraft, very terrifying. Had the main actress from Phantom of the Paradise movie you missed out on. That Netter.
Yeah. Well,
Jessica
okay.
Harper. Jessica Harper's in it.
Let's just put it this way. Yeah, I wasn't feeling well. I couldn't watch the film, and after talking to Netter, I didn't really have any impetus to go back and watch it.
He forced me to watch it in his place.
Well, I'm sorry. Netter watched it by default.
No, it's like a Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's how I saw it.
No,
Anyway.
it is not like a Rocky Horror Picture
Paul
Show.
Williams, come on. We all love Paul Williams. Come on.
Well, okay, you're right about Paul Williams. Okay, I agree with you about that.
It's a weird duck. That's not for everybody. Okay. Moving on. I think the final story of tonight.
This one's all you, buddy. I have no idea.
I got very, very excited. I screamed when I saw this. Like, I think Troy was like, "What kind of scream?" When he was posting me, what was it? GIFs.
Yeah,
GIFs.
he said I screamed, and I did the one of the dude, yay, excited, and the other one like, I'm like, which scream are you talking about? He goes, the excited one. Okay, well, good. I'm happy for you. Whatever.
Lupin the Third Cat's Eye crossover anime. I'm a big fan of the Japanese character Lupin the Third, the great grandson of the famous French gentleman thief Arsène Lupin, and basically a manga creator over in Japan that said, I'm going to write a story about his grandson without necessarily getting the permission to do that from the French publishers. But I think since then it's been cleared up, and he's a great character. He goes on great adventures, and I'm very happy that. Let me just read this article, then I'll get more into it.
Okay.
TMS Entertainment announced a new Lupin the Third and Cat's Eye crossover anime series, which will debut sometime in 2023. The Amazon original anime series will be available globally, exclusive through Amazon's Prime Video streaming platform. Well, at least they're good at putting out something good. Actually, the Jack Reacher show they made was pretty good too. I did enjoy that one, but stay away from their fantasy shows, I think. But anyway, a new teaser trailer also showed off the upcoming series, stylized 3D animation. In 2023, Lupin the Third and Cat's Eye will be celebrating their 50th and 40th anniversaries, respectively. Now, I'm assuming they were referencing the Lupin the Third anime series. Maybe that started in '73, because I know the manga dates back to the '60s. But anyway, Lupin the Third follows the titular protagonist, international gentleman thief Lupin the Third, and his band of fellow criminals. The lesser-known outside of Japan, Cat's Eye, also started as a manga series and follows three sisters who work together as guess it, it's art thieves. Both franchises have seen significant popularity in Japan, receiving various anime and movie adaptations across their near half-century long run. Titled Lupin the Third versus Cat's Eye, the anime series will be set in the 1980s, Japan at the same time period as Cat's Eye as the Cat's Eye serialization. Directing the series will be Kobun Shizuno and Haruki Shishida. Shizuno has previously worked on the recent Detective Conan movies, as well as 3 CG animated Godzilla films alongside Shishida. Shishida also previously worked at Square Enix. Voicing Lupin will be Yoshiyuki Kurita, who also voiced the character in Lupin the Third, the First, which was a recently computer animated movie they did based on Lupin the Third over in Japan. I am very, very excited about this, and I'm trying to explain this to you in terms you might understand.
Okay.
Let's say that you were a big fan of the Batman, and you were also a big fan of Green Arrow. And Green Arrow and Batman were not currently both owned by DC. Green Arrow was still owned by the old owners. And then imagine someone decides, let's have a Batman versus Green Arrow series.
You're talking like the Batman Green Hornet crossover in the.
Maybe that's better. Maybe that's better.
Yeah.
That might be
Okay.
better.
Yeah. I dig it. Okay.
Because I'm a big fan of Lupin the Third, and I do see Lupin the Third as a 1970s character, even though they've done even newer series with him in it, taking place in the modern day. I still see him as a 1970s rooted character. Cat's Eye, I actually did watch this entire anime series. They had it on Amazon Prime for a while, free for if you do the Prime thing. So I watched all of Cat's Eye, and it's been commented on that this is a Lupin style series, and it is because it's about a team of lady thieves. Now, to be fair, these are 3 sisters. Their father was a German art collector, an antiquities collector. Something happened to him. He went into hiding or disappeared, and his collection was stolen and sold around the world. So now they're trying to steal the collection back to see if they can find clues as to where his whereabouts are. And of course, the middle sister is the one who does a lot of the thieving, even though her younger and older sisters also help out in other tasks with this. And of course, there's also a police detective, a young handsome police detective who has been tasked with taking down Cat's Eye. And of course, he's dating the main thief, the middle sister, and doesn't realize she's the thief, right? It's one of those things. And it's a fun little show. I greatly enjoyed it. I love all 3 sisters. It's a very 80s anime. Anime tends to have different feels depending on the decade it's from, and it's kind of interesting to watch anime from the 80s because the 80s were like Japan's boon time. They've often said that the 80s for Japan was like the 1920s for the United States. I mean, to be fair, we did pretty good with the 80s as well, but like even in Japan, it was like money was everywhere, and it was like an age of excess. And then, of course, things got crashing down in the 90s. But it's interesting that they're setting this series in the 80s, and they even have Lupin the Third in his outfit that he wore in his 1980s show. Lupin the Third Part 3, he wore a pink jacket instead of the red one he had in the previous show. And of course, now I think more recently he was wearing a blue jacket, and now he's gone back to the original green. So he changes his jacket depending on the decade or the period he's in. But I'm very excited about this. I'm a huge Lupin the Third fan, and the last Lupin the Third series they did, I haven't seen it yet. Is basically his adventures in Great Britain, and it's him going up against, I guess, a more modern version of Sherlock Holmes, kind of a la the style of like the BBC Sherlock. But it's basically Lupin the Third versus Sherlock Holmes, and it's like, wow, the world's greatest thief versus the world's greatest detective, and I'm like, who do they top that? We'll have the world's greatest thief go up against the world's greatest thieves, or it's like 2 thieves going at it now, and it's
right.
They keep figuring out a way to up the stakes with Lupin, and it's fascinating. Lupin the Third Part 5 was Lupin the Third basically versus the internet. It was basically how does a brilliant thief survive the internet age, and the whole show was about that and how he was maneuvering around that. And it's the first people it goes up again. The villains were based off Silk Road. Silk Road, the criminal organization that worked online.
Right.
They're a real thing, but the villains they based on that series were based on that, and it's. I don't know. I'm very happy about this, and I'll say this for everybody out there. I know we get down on popular culture sometimes, and I'm not saying you got to get into anime, but what I would suggest to everybody out there,
get into anime.
I would say get into what we would call niche culture. Find something that's niche, that's not completely mainstream. That could be anime, it could be old pulp stories, because Pulp Fiction was not even popular. It was not even mainstream back in the day. Get into like horror movies, that's kind of another niche thing. Find something that's niche that you can gravitate toward and hopefully can remain niche during these hard times when a lot of our pop culture icons are being shredded by these corporations that don't know what they're doing. Find
For
something
sure.
niche to get into. It doesn't have to be anime, but find something that's a little out there maybe to get into, and it'll make you happier. That's my advice.
I agree. Matt Anui's
Okay.
got some questions. He says, wait, they worked on the anime trilogy? They didn't write it, did they?
Who worked on what?
Yeah, that was a while back, so I'm not sure if he.
The Godzilla one. Oh, I have no idea. He's talking about the Godzilla CG trilogy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't see that. I don't know if that's the thing that was on Netflix or if that's something that never exited Japan. I don't know. I don't know much about the Godzilla. Apparently, there was an animated Godzilla because the entire Godzilla anime trilogy. This isn't going to be very good. I don't know. I'm hoping they're not the ones writing it. Okay, I think I know the one you're talking about. The one that was on Netflix. Or pronounce it with an unnecessary accent. I don't know. Look, I don't know if this is going to be as good as that. I don't know if this series will be any good, but I am fascinated that they're doing this crossover because Cat's Eye, it's not that well known a character. Lupin the Third has finally started growing in popularity even outside of Japan. He's huge in Japan. Outside of Japan, I remember Cartoon Network was trying to show the Lupin the Third cartoons from the 70s, and they just were not getting the views. They were trying. I was watching them, but I was like the only one. One of the few.
Yeah.
But over the time, though, they've done newer Lupin the series in Japan. Very state of the art animation, very well told stories that I think even a young Zoomer that doesn't like to watch the old stuff, I think they can even get into the new stuff. So I'm very curious about this show. It's going to be an Amazon exclusive, so who knows if it'll ever get a DVD release, but I'll definitely watch it on streaming for now, and I watch all of Cat's Eye, so I'm good to go.
Well, if it streams, there are ways to make your own physical media. You should always own everything on physical media.
Do you know what was wonderful about the end credits on Cat's Eye? They were all wearing... What were those old jazzercise outfits women wore in the 80s? The exercise, the
leotards.
like Olivia Newton-John, the Get Physical outfit,
Sure, leotards, leg warmers, and headbands and stuff like that.
Yeah, the end credits, you get to see the three sisters wearing those outfits and doing exercise routines during the end credits.
Awesome. Okay, this might be worth checking out.
I'll at least send you the end credits, and but that was the time. All the women were into those exercising routines.
I can see after this comes out, Boomer's like, so did you watch it? Well, I watched the end credits.
No, you don't have to watch it. I'm just saying, though, I'm very excited, and anime fans out there, maybe give this one a look. I'm definitely be watching it when it comes on because I watched all of Cat's Eye. I was never expecting this to happen because basically I finished all of Cat's Eye like last year, or maybe it was even earlier this year, and I finally finished Cat's Eye. I was like, oh, no more Cat's Eye, and of course they end it. Do they find their missing dad? No. To be continued in a series that never gets made. You had like 70 or 80 episodes. Could we get somewhere on that front, guys? Anyway, maybe they'll wrap up Cat's Eye with the series. They'll have them find their dad. Lupin will help them. That'd be neat. All right.
Well, don't hold your breath, but yeah, here's hoping.
Oh my goodness, we made it to 11 o'clock. Look at that, huh?
Because we made it into a forced march and we planned ahead. I think we did good.
I need some water. Again, everybody in Florida and other states, stay safe during this upcoming hurricane season. Hopefully we'll all weather the storm. So we'll, like I said, and hopefully I will be on Tuesday with Mr. Matchstick. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I'll still be able to make that stream. But like I said, if I can, I'll let you know. And if you guys want to postpone or go without me, I'll leave it up to you guys. All right. But
yep.
Hopefully I will be there. I am looking forward to talking about Legion of Superheroes Season 2. Good season.
It was.
I'm a little disappointed we didn't get a part 3, but maybe it's better.
Well, I know. I was just thinking that with the last one you were talking about, a series that ends, with unresolved stuff, and it's like,
Well, there was some unresolved stuff on Legion, but at least they finished off the storyline that season. I was worried they were going to leave us on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
In fact, if I have time to talk, if I'm going to be on Tuesdays, I'm going to bring up the art of the cliffhanger. The art of the season finale, and that was what series pioneered the art of the season finale. You know this. TNG.
Oh, Best of Both Worlds. Yeah.
GNG knew how to do, and that was the big one. Yeah, Best of Both Worlds. They knew how to do the season finale. And what changed later on, and I'm glad series started doing this, they would give you the season finale, but they wouldn't leave you on the cliffhanger. They would give you both parts at the end, like Doctor Who would do this, right?
Yeah.
So we got away from the whole you have to wait until the fall because you never know if your show's coming back. So maybe at least wrap up your two-part, everything's falling apart. Smallville.
Yeah.
Smallville had the worst season finales. Oh my goodness. They were like,
well, because they knew they were going to be going on for 10 more years.
Oh. They knew, yeah, because it did well in the ratings. I'm telling you. And like, I remember that one season it has like a General Zod possessed Lex Luthor making out with Lana Lang as destruction's reigning in Metropolis, and then Clark is stuck in the Phantom Zone. Like that's a bad finale there.
This is what I said. That show went on way too long, and you could get rid of about half the episodes, and you'd have a much, much better series.
I know. Thank you, deleted scenes. Thank you. We grow together definitely, and
absolutely.
Okay. I don't know. You probably misheard something, or I said something wrong. It happens all the time. Good show tonight. Have a good night, everybody. Yeah, thank you. So Wednesday, provided I am available, but even if I'm not, Soundtracks with Birdman. There will be a massive stream that night. It'll be the 2-year anniversary. There will be a rewatch of Raiders of the Lost Ark at 8:30 p.m. and it's going to be all. I think Big Al's going to be on there, and some other guests as well. I think. Zootopia? I think Zootopia might be on there too. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think he may be on there as well. So, and there'll be some other guests as well. So check out that stream. Hopefully, I will be able to make it. And Friday, what we got going on? Or do you have anything else going on besides that Friday?
No. Friday, for last call, special guest, the sassy Southern Belle, Arwen Avalon. She does a drunk stream as well. So I just figured it would be a great synergy to get her on my channel and have a chat with her. I enjoy her stuff, and we'll hang out.
Sassy Southern Belle. Okay.
Yep. Which brings us, of course, to Saturday over on Netters Network. We'll be doing a very special watch party of the movie Book of Life, doing a little celebration of Latin culture with special guests Latino Slant and Mikey the Mexican Iron Man.
It was Paulie's birthday today. Did you catch his stream earlier?
I did not. I was I was actually going crazy putting together my notes for the good old days. I really spent a lot of time on those notes.
But I do want to say happy. Oh yeah, no, they sounded very professional. I'm just going off the fly with mine, but but no, you did. I did want to wish Paulie again on my stream happy birthday. You do a lot for this community. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I will see y'all on this coming Sunday with Geeky Geezers. Hopefully, I'll just be able to laugh about all this scary stuff that's coming my way in a few days, but we'll see.
Yeah, I would love to hear you come on next week and you're like, well, they said we were going to have a hurricane. I didn't see anything.
Sometimes that happens, and sometimes the opposite happens, and you really don't know until it's really coming.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
We've gotten better with predictions, but we're not quite there yet. Maybe one day we'll finally be able to project better.
Maybe one day you should do a stream with meteorologist Katie. Meteorologist Katie,
She was on Soundtracks with Birdman once for Harry Potter reading. No, she's wonderful. I'd love to do another stream with her sometime. But
so many random fandoms.
She's also a member of the Orville Nation, right?
Oh, of course.
Yes. All right. Who was on your stream on Friday? We had a really neat stream Friday.
He's awesome. PJ is awesome. He really is.
All right, y'all. You have a good week, and I will catch you later. Stay safe, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.